modern dating is bad for everyone. In the video I did before this one, she's not supposed to choose her partner. I talked about why back in the day, arranged marriages were actually better, for people than finding, their own partners and kind of dating around and stuff like that. Now, before I get into why modern dating is bad for everyone, I want to make one thing clear, right? Modern dating is really just barely one small step ahead of hooking up, right? That's what modern dating is. It's really just a long-term hookup. Now, look, even after arranged marriages, maybe 20, 30 years ago, people actually knew how to date. Back in the 50s even, people knew how to date. How it would work is maybe you'll meet, a girl in high school, or you'll meet a woman, you go on, 4, 5, 6 dates with her, and every date that goes on, you guys are discussing and moving towards the idea of marriage. You're not even having sex on those dates. You're going for a walk in the park. Then you're meeting her parents. Then you're doing, like, everything is leading up to the marriage, right? Every date serves a purpose. It's leading up to, you two seeing that you need to get married. You both see eye to eye. There's no confusion about where this relationship is going, right? Everything, they understood the point of what they're building towards, right? When men and women back in the day would go on a date, it's like, look, this is where we need to get to. This is how we're going to do it. You're learning a little bit about each other and stuff personality-wise, but you have a common goal that you're both working towards, right? And you're working towards it as soon as possible. These days, the reason why modern dating is bad for both men and women, I've already gone over why it's bad for women. They have these little 3-month relationships, 6 months relationships. They just really get used for sex for a while. They waste away their prime years. They waste away. Because really, a woman I would honestly say, look, from 18 to 25, that's the time she has to find a husband. Smart men who really are about their business, they know not to mess with a woman over 25. And I'll get into that in another video. But really, her window is, I'd say, 7 years. Because, she's legal at 18, right? So from 18 to 25. If it was different, if 18 wasn't the limit, I'd say, from 16 to 25. But, of course, because the legal age is 18. From 18 to 25 is her window to find a great man. A great, responsible, strong, loving man, right? So she wastes her prime years away, 21 banging bad boys, 22 banging bad boys, 23 I'm in a relationship with this bad boy for 6 months. Oh, then he leaves me. It turns out he wasn't that serious. 24, oh, I'm with this guy for a year and a half. Oh, it's not that serious, or whatever. Or she gets bored. The point is she wastes away her years in different little hookup type relationships, right? Now, men, we are in those same hookup type relationships, right? But here's why it's bad for us, right? Here's why it's bad for men. Now, it's not nearly as catastrophic as it is for women because we have a much longer window, to find a woman, right? A man can screw up his 20s and 30s and still find a good woman in his 40s and have the family and get his life together. A man can party throughout his 20s and not get his stuff together until his mid to late 30s and still find a nice 22, 23, 24-year-old woman and start a family and be a successful guy. Whereas women only really have from 18 to 25. And then after that, it's not the same, right? But here's how we mess up, right? I'm going to use myself as an example, right? When I was 17 years old, I was like an up-and-coming rapper, right? I was into the rap thing, the music scene, And I met a girl. We started dating. We dated for about a year. Now, this relationship was so time-consuming with her. She was so needy and just always calling me, always texting me, always have to do things with her. Before I started dating her, right, I would go to the recording studio and I would record a song once a week, right? Or at least a couple songs once a week, right? Every week I was in the recording studio, doing a new song, right? When I started dating her, I think I ended up going to the recording studio one time in 9 months, all right? I was with her for 9 months, maybe a year. And that entire relationship with her, I only went to the recording studio one time, okay? When I used to go once a week. I ended up only going once in an entire year because she took up so much of my time and energy. I didn't have time to do anything else. I was so exhausted dealing with her. She was like a full-time kid, like a full-time job, right? Just took the time and energy out of me. Now, the way that this destroys men, being in these and all we were doing was having sex and smoking weed, sitting in her bed, watching Netflix for 9 months. That's all we did, was just sit around, sleep together, smoke weed, watch movies, just wasting time, wasting tons of valuable time that I'm not getting back, right? So the way that this destroys men, it's different than the way it destroys women. The way these modern dating relationships destroy men is we're wasting our prime years that we could be using building and investing in ourselves, and learning new trades and starting businesses and making money and going on our manhood journey, discovering who we really are and building the alpha male qualities we need to sustain ourselves for the rest of our lives. We're wasting that away having these casual hookup type relationships for 6 months a year that aren't really going anywhere. And as guys, we know the relationships aren't going anywhere, but we just like the consistent sex, right? So we'll waste 6 months a year just sleeping with a girl, smoking weed, watching Netflix, drinking, getting out of shape, not working out, just being lazy slobs, right? And here's the thing, guys. It's okay if you want to have like a hookup type relationship with a girl, as long as you know at the end of the day you're gonna get out of it and you're gonna bounce. Like if you have a plan, right? Like I like just having consistent sex and I'm gonna just kind of like do this for a couple months. That's fine as long as you know you're gonna get out of it, and as long as you're not letting her take up too much time to where you're not handling your man business while you're with her. See, if you have the discipline, if you're with a woman, to like, look, I can't talk to you for a few days. I have to handle my business. And she's not going to freak out when you do that. Yeah, you can have a modern relationship as a guy, as long as you can keep handling your business and not get lazy and complacent. But so many of us, myself included, have fallen for the trap where we just love that easy sex. We just love that simplicity. And we end up pushing away the stuff we have to take care of in order to just indulge. It's like we get hooked on the junk food, right? These little casual hookup type relationships are like junk food for men. And we get hooked on that easy sex and just spending time together and not handling our business. And she's like, everything's gonna be okay. Just spend time with me. Don't go to work. Don't take care of your business. Just spend time with me. Just be with me. Me. They just want to suck the energy out of you. So if that's where it's going, you have to have the discipline to cut yourself out of that relationship, right? Because you're just going to waste away years of your life that you could be using to build your empire, right? And that relationship is always going to fall apart anyway. That 9-month relationship I was in, where I didn't go to the recording studio, I didn't focus on my craft, on my talent, it ended up falling apart anyway. So now I'm left with nothing. Now I wasted 9 months and I didn't record any new songs. I didn't build my business. I didn't do anything. I didn't produce anything. It was just a huge waste of time. So don't get caught up into that trap, don't get caught up into that trap of getting complacent and lazy and having these long-term hookup type relationships, where you're just wasting time and not working on yourself and building what you need to build, Now, like I said, it's much more devastating for women than it is for men because they're wasting their prime years and their beauty fades fast. But for men, it can be bad too because we're wasting, if you waste your entire 20s and 30s messing around when you could have been building your empire, now you're going to have to make up for it in your 40s, and that's going to be a much bigger pain than, when you could have been at 25, already had a lot of stuff taken care of, because you weren't wasting your time in these hookup type relationships. So that's really why modern dating is bad for everybody. It's way worse for women than men, it's no comparison. It's way worse for them, but it's still bad for us if we're not careful and we're not handling our business. It can be bad for us too, guys. So that's really the moral of the story, handle your business, keep these women at arm's length, don't get too attached, do what you have to do, but always make your goals priority number one. And everything's going to work itself out after that, guys. So that's really the moral of the story, all right? Take it easy.